What would you say to those friends, because we both have friends in the profession that have kind of got lost in the bouncing around to chase the dollar thing?
Well, I think if you look at the S curve, and there's the innovation stage, and then there's the growth stage, and then there's the maturity stage, and everybody feels like they got to get in the very beginning. Well, that's not true.
Right.
When I got involved with NSA, they had already been out there for almost 20 years. So it was a solid company with solid management.
They're ready for wave 2, kind of.
So they were still, like, even right now where we're at, we have, like, still even less than 5% saturation as far as penetration of the market. So we're just getting ready to go into that growth stage, and we've been out there for almost 20 years with the product. So sometimes you feel like you got to be the first one in and get into a new deal, and and you kind of jump from deal to deal, and that's not how it works. You got to find something. First of all, you got to find a product or service that you truly believe in yourself. And then you've got to find some leadership, the people that are running the company, that have a long-term vision, a long-term plan, like I found with Jay. And, and then a system that is duplicatable, where new people come in and they're having success, not just the people at the top.
Right.
And and then you got to stick with it. It's not just jumping around and from deal to deal and trying to. The people in my business are not network marketing pros, or
Right.
They're stay-at-home moms. They're healthcare professionals that believe in whole food nutrition. So I'm building it with people that say, hey, I love this product. I'm passionate. You've got a good business. Here's how I know I've built this thing on a solid foundation. You've got a good business when you can't screw up your own business.
Yeah.
Even if I left, everybody would still stay.
They say Jeff's lost his mind. He's crazy.
What is he doing over there? I mean, did he drink the Kool-Aid or something? I mean, what's going on with this guy?
That's when you do know you got a good business.
So it's solid. So it takes some time. It takes that pig-headed discipline, that consistency. Where you just got to do it consistently, day in and day out. It's like putting one foot in front of the other, going from point A to point B.
Right.
And I'm also very clear, one of my mentors, a guy named Larry Thompson, he talked about, he said, Jeff, the majority of the people are just going to be users.
Yeah.
85%, they're just going to do it part-time sometime, and that's okay, and that's fine. But you get that, that 10% or that 5% or that 2% that really want it. And that's the ones you really lock in with and build some teams with.
Yeah.
Like the Vim and Birga Plunga you met last night. I've taken my business, not only did I build it here in the United States, but I've gone to 20 plus countries.
Right.
And always kept building, always kept recruiting, staying in the building mode, and got out of my comfort zone and into some uncharted waters. Right? And, the bigger the problem, the bigger the paycheck. Some of these countries were not easy to open, but I understood that there was huge rewards if you could figure that out. And it's just been very rewarding. So on a lot of levels, emotionally and spiritually, and like I said, with just the relationships and continuing to grow and serve.